The
And then on page
information
14,
stays the same for 3 years.
pardon me, sorry?
In the section 11, immovable property, that information does not change for 3 years, those entries there.
It hasn't changed at all
So if
in
you
all
go
this
back
time.
to page 1, sorry, the very first disclosure on page 3, is it on 3? That information remains the same throughout, and that's now over 4 years. So in section 11 on page 3, remember that's the very first disclosure.
Yes.
We are now in 2025, and it hasn't changed.
That's right. And that's 24 to 25. Now, when we look at the vehicles under section 12, we see that there are 30 vehicles that are listed. So recall, Commissioners, in the year prior, immediately prior to this, there were no vehicles listed. And in the year immediately prior to that one, there was only one vehicle listed. In this year, there are 30 vehicles that are listed, including the Uno fire, but many more. We see in section 13 on page 15 that it was submitted to the HOD. And we see there's a column for comments. And in none of these disclosure forms are any comments noted. And one would have thought that there would be comments in these forms, especially if there's a form that suddenly doesn't disclose information that was in the form prior to that, or in this case, where it suddenly discloses ownership from 0 vehicles to 30 vehicles. But there's no comment that's noted on the financial disclosure form in section 13. And then the final disclosure form is 25 to 26.
Maybe before you go to the final, this 2024-25, at least until explained by General Khan, if you consider that in the previous year, and I'm speaking specifically to the vehicles, if you consider that in the previous year there was nothing, then it's fair until explained to assume that all these vehicles would have been procured in 24-25 financial year, and in that period, nothing is owing as at the time of the disclosure. So on the face of it, it looks like vehicles for 900,000, 950, 500, 700 would have been procured for cash because nothing is owing in that period or paid off within the 12 months period. You understand the logic of what I'm saying?
That's correct, Commissioner Floyd. So it would have all been acquired, fully acquired for cash.
In that 1
year.
Yeah.
And as Commissioner Beloy notes, if you look at the value of vehicles, there are several luxury vehicles.
Yes. Thank you.
And hence my drawing to your attention section 13 of this form, because it seems to have gone unremarked by the person responsible for administering this form, or for the person who supervises above that person.
Aligned to Commissioner Baloy's point, there's no change in the disclosure about income.
There is no change in the disclosure. It remains, in fact, to the number, the round number of 3 million.
I suspect your answer will be that the witness that you're going to call will deal with this, but just let me test this. At page 10, where you've got that comment in the comments box, bulk acknowledgement by PSC official. I think you said, and if you didn't say that, then that's how I read it, that that's a PSC official comment, whoever received the form. Am I reading it wrong? Or do you read it differently? I had read it that way, and then when we get to page 15, there's no comment, and then it caused me to ask, in fact, who is supposed to complete this comment section?
Well, it's very unclear. On page 10, it's not clear to me whether it's the official that himself or herself that's annotating this and saying bulk acknowledgement. What is bulk acknowledgement? It seems to me that it might be some other person who says there was a bulk submission of these disclosures and there's a bulk acknowledgement that they've been filed and nothing more. So no scrutiny of the form, merely an acknowledgement that it's being filed. And it's not clear to me that who actually annotated that.
Okay. Your witness can speak to this, I suppose, whoever's going to speak about these disclosures.
Indeed, Commissioner Bloy, I think it's an important topic for us as a commission to understand when it comes to the institutional reforms.
Thank you.
I think I was on the last form, which is 25 to 26. It's unchanged in all of the respects regarding financial interests, regarding the remunerative work, the 3 million. But you'll see under section 3, any other financial interests not applicable and a nil value. Under directorships and partnerships, only one, Spares Oasis. Other remunerative work, 3 million, Spares Oasis. Under immovable property, it remains the same. Under section 12, vehicles, it's now not 30 vehicles, but 22. And then we see in section, yes.
2020.
2020, 21.
Oh, yeah.
Well, yes, it has kept its value, the purchase price. As
And I'm
reported.
going to buy, I see that it has quite some longevity, 2000.
But now it's listed as the last vehicle in the list, so maybe it's on its way out, Chair. So it's now 22 and not 30. And in the last, let me say this, it's important because now we've got the section 13, other financial liabilities, and it says nil. To Commissioner Beloy's point earlier. And then section 14, it shows that it was submitted on the 28th of April, 2026. And all it says under status is disclosure submitted by employee. So now we see a different note under status. We don't even know who completed that form, who wrote that in. There's no comments in the comments block. The form is just not, yes, there's just no information on that. So those are the financial disclosures as we have it for the last 5 years. There's a lot for us to deal with on finances. For now, Commissioners, what I wish to submit is that the evidence of his lifestyle and financial interests that we pick up through the chats, but also other information which is contained here, but we are still to deal with it. And we have had some engagement with General Khan's legal representatives on the spreadsheet that's in this folder. And we need to check the figures that's in the spreadsheet because there seems that there are discrepancies to be resolved. And that's why we are not going there now before the Commission, because there's no value in putting up information to the Commission that we are not 100% sure of is accurate. So that will be explored at a later date. But what we can say is that the evidence, as we have it thus far, and put it no further than this, is that it suggests that there's not been a full disclosure of his financial interests in these forms. That's the first thing. But even if it is, even if one were to say that what's contained in these forms is a full disclosure and is accurate, there aren't any other companies, there isn't any other source of income, there isn't any other asset, whatever it may be, it raises serious concerns, because the problem is not that we have a police officer, a senior police officer, with outside interests. It's not that you may never have an outside interest, and that's not at all what I am suggesting to the Commission. The problem, rather, is that General Khan was a senior crime intelligence officer and is a senior crime intelligence officer, so at the time of the disclosures, and he was earning 2.5 times more a year than his public salary. So on his own version, on his own disclosures, he's earning 2.5 times more a year from a private motor spares business than from his public office. And at the same time, what we've seen from the WhatsApp chats that have gone through since Friday, he's simultaneously involved in discussions concerning the automotive parts procurement. He's talking about procurement officials and access and the like. We've been there already. So even on his own version, there's a concern. It's the amount of income relative to what he earns as a public servant, and then it's the nature of the business. The next concern is that it's not merely a financial interest that comes from it's not just a passive income.
At this stage, are we aware of anything more than the 3 million or 3.5 million in terms of income?
We have some records, Chair, but I didn't want to go there because we're still clarifying the accuracy of those records. We know that there are many more companies.
I'm asking because at this stage, before you are able to talk about income that's more than what we see, let's say objectively, are you able to draw any inferences before you sort out the issues around the spreadsheets? For example, it says the 3 million comes from the Oasis Spares shop. Let me just call it that. I'm not sure of the exact name now. Are we able to say anything to gainsay that at this stage?
Well, Chair, yes, we have some evidence. One is in relation to his other business, Magic Motor Spares, which is a running, functioning business. So there's...
It doesn't, if somebody has a business, it doesn't necessarily mean that they are making money. But I do know, of course, there may be issues of when did he start running that business? Can he continue running it, for example, for 7 years if he's not making any money out of it? But I'm not sure that at this stage we have that kind of detail.
Chair, you don't have that detail in front
Yes.
of you right now. What I'm putting before you is
Yes.
it's a series of things.
Yes.
And including the other businesses. Now, even if he's not earning an income from it, it has an asset value, and that's not recorded in the disclosure forms. And there are other companies. We don't know the full extent yet of that, which is what we want to come to once we spend a bit more time looking at those spreadsheets. Which is why I'm making the proposition at this point in time that we don't think so. We have reason to believe this is not a full disclosure. I'm not saying anything more at this point about it. What I'm rather addressing you on is, let's assume this is a full disclosure. Let's take him on his version. And my submissions to the Commissioner, there are nevertheless serious concerns, even on this version, for the reasons I've been setting out, which is one, the fact that it is 2.5 times more than the public, his salary in public office, that it concerns an industry in which he, we've seen, has had engagements with regard to procurement. In fact, you know, it's also a, let me leave it there. I don't want to give evidence on other things.
And perhaps I should correct myself for saying what we objectively see in front of us. I should rather have said what we see in front of us, because objectively suggests that we are able for ourselves to see what the position really is in terms of what we see. I should have just said what we see in front of us, and not use objectively.
That's true, Commissioner,
Yeah.
Chair, even of the financial disclosure
Yes,
forms.
yes.
So let's assume that what it is correct. And
Yes.
and then my concerns remain, but they're different concerns. So I think the concerns are going to grow, but even at this stage, the concerns remain. We've also seen that this is not, you know, we've seen from the chats that there's a lot of engagement with the businesses. So this is not in the nature of shareholding in a company where you earn a passive income. This is an active business. And again, General Khan may have an explanation, and he may say, we don't know what he may say about it. But it's not that kind of a financial interest where you earn a passive income. And then the final point to be made on these financial disclosures is the one that I began to engage with Commissioner Beloy, and that is an institutional one. What is the purpose of these forms? And is the design of these forms fit for purpose? Who do they go to? Who checks that they are completed properly? What follow-up and consequence management is there? We don't know that yet, but it would seem that this is not a workable or functioning and a system that lends itself to accountability. And so I think it would be important for us in the time that remains for the Commission at some point to engage with the issue of the financial disclosure forms, but from the view of somebody who has a better knowledge and understanding of how this process is meant to function and what it's meant to achieve, and whether, in fact, in this context, and remember, we're not talking about financial disclosures here of any government department. We're talking about financial disclosures in the SAPS. And so there will be a particular unique requirements, one would think, for these kind of financial disclosures. So for now, Chair, that's what we wish to say on the finances, with the caveat that we're not done with it yet.
Advocate Hassim, your first point, you highlighted the fact that General Khan is very senior within crime intelligence. And you state that as a fact. What we don't have is the organogram, the hierarchy within crime intelligence, and what his role entails and where it fits in, and why somebody in that role is so important, and why these disclosures are relevant, because that position is a particular position where that person deals with these types of issues.
I think, Commissioner Kumalo, that will be something that we want to deal with,
Yeah.
along with these other points that I've been making about financial disclosures. We know he's senior for several reasons, his position, but also his salary level is at 14, and also these kind of financial disclosures only apply to senior management service. But the point that you're making is that it's the function that he serves is relevant, and so it must be tailored to. So conflicts of interest, for example, are different when you are a senior crime intelligence officer than when you hold some other position, and those are the things we need to explore through somebody who has better knowledge of how that system should work. So, Chair, that's for now, that's it from me. I will be back, but the next chapter is going to be presented by Mr. Chaskelson. And I think if we were able to take a short adjournment to allow him to set up, that would be appreciated.
Let's adjourn, we'll come back when we are told to.
Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Chaskalson.
Thank you, Chair. I have much more than half an hour's worth of open material to traverse, but what, with your permission, I would like to do first is, after I've switched off my phone, is to move the in-camera application so that we know where we stand in relation to the in-camera application, and then to use whatever time remains today to do a piece of the open material. And if we need to pick up the open material again, either tomorrow or at a later stage, well, we will need to pick up the open material tomorrow or at a later stage, we can do so then. Chair, we have made an application for some of the chats of General Khan to be dealt with in camera. It was posted and there has been no opposition to it. But for the benefit of the public, I would like to explain at least the two central principles as to why we need to deal with those chats in camera. And the context, of course, is that before he was shot, General Khan had flagged the confidentiality of some of the information and had brought an in-camera application himself, which was subsequently withdrawn. But it is clear to us simply from inspecting some of the chats that we have seen, that traversing those chats would disclose the identity of informants who are placed within organized crime gangs and are supplying information to General Khan. And if we were to disclose their identities, or even the evidence from which their identities can be inferred, that would put the lives of those informants and possibly other people at risk. So that's one category that we need to address in camera, because it really does pose a risk to life. And then there is another category which relates to ongoing investigations into specific offences committed by organized crime groups. And offences in respect of which there are ongoing investigations, but the suspects have not yet been arrested. And if we were to disclose that information, we might well either prejudice the investigations or possibly signal to the suspects that they are under investigation and that there is evidence against them, and essentially invite them to abscond. So those are the two categories that we have identified that we would like to lead in camera. And in the absence of any opposition to the in-camera application, I would ask that we are granted leave to lead that evidence in camera. We were planning to do so tomorrow, but that can be addressed later after Mr. Valley has certain concerns in relation to tomorrow, which he would, I think, like to put to the Commission. We would want to respond to that. But for now, we would ask for an order that those categories of evidence be permitted to be led in camera.
Thank you, Mr. Chaskalson. Mr. Valley, before you state the concerns that Mr. Chaskalson has referred to, I assume that there's no opposition to the application itself.
Indeed, Chair, and it's not because there's an intention to not oppose. It is simply because we are unable to extract instructions at this stage from our client. Now, if I may, while I've got the mic, address the concerns. The irony is not lost on me that we brought an in-camera application for the very reasons on which my learned friend Mr. Chaskalson relies. And we've gone through their 5-page notice of motion and founding affidavit, and we now learn from his address to you what the actual concerns are. And it is concerns which we shared, but we had additional grounds as well. So if one now relies on the residual powers vested in me based on my previous instructions from General Khan prior to him becoming injured and unavailable, in principle, we don't have an objection had we had instructions to the matter proceeding in camera. There's a lot more that we would like to say in any event, but now this creates a procedural quagmire. I understand from Mr. Cheskelson that there's an intention to continue tomorrow. However, if I draw your attention to the 10-6 notice, this matter was set down for 4 days. It was last week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and today being Monday. So we didn't make any further days available for the continuation of the evidence. We will try, and in fact, attempts are underway for us to try to identify a date where we might be available, particularly for the in-camera, because it may not necessarily be available publicly, the record, or how matters would proceed. Ideally, we'd want someone here. Now, had we been made aware at the earliest time that there was an in-camera application that was intended to be brought, or perhaps our in-camera application had succeeded for different reasons, but coming to the same relief, we could have made those arrangements earlier. So tomorrow is probably a no-show, and I don't know what time we have left. I'm happy to sit here until the early hours of tomorrow morning if needs be, to try to traverse as much ground as we can, because we're not here to frustrate the Commission's endeavor or that of my learned friend. It just places us in a procedural quagmire. Now, the way we see it is that there's one of 3 ways in which we can proceed. Either General Khan's health does not permit him to come at all or to tender a statement, or the more likely is that General Khan may, based on what has already transpired in these proceedings, commit to an affidavit from his hospital bed or from another place of convenience. Or the ideal scenario is that his health permits him to actually attend, and then we can make up for the time that he wasn't here. I can't make any predictions on which of those 3 is likely, but my colors are pinned to the mast of an affidavit at the minimum, so that at least there's evidence before this Commission which answers many things that we know the answers to, and things that we don't know from which we can get instructions from General Khan. For purposes of achieving that eventuality, it's important that we are given a line in the sand to say, well, this is the evidence, or this is the documentary evidence on which we expect answers, and ideally, these are the pro forma questions that we would like you to focus on. Now we have certainty, and hopefully we can plan something for the near future before the Commission's function comes to an end. So, in as much as I've said what I've said, I don't know the answers, and I would be looking to the Commission for guidance. And at the same time, still record our reservations about the matter proceeding in the absence of General Khan. I know I've raised it before, I know you've made a ruling, but now given these new circumstances, I have to revive the objection. So that's where we are, Chair. The most difficult of circumstances that any legal practitioner can face in these circumstances.
You don't even have a PA, a professional assistant that could be in attendance tomorrow.
What we're trying to do is to make arrangements that somebody can attend to the various matters. In fact, I'll give you an example. I was briefed in a matter for the urgent court in Pretoria. I've contacted my professional assistant in an effort to try to ask that the presiding officer consider rolling the matter over to later in the week when I can attend. But we don't have answers just yet, so we're not entirely sure. If the matter is to proceed tomorrow and we are not here, we ask we ask to be excused, number 1. And number 2, we'll make arrangements with Mr. Cheskelson for whatever record we might be able to procure. If in the off chance, Lady Luck smiling upon us, we are available, then that sorts out the dilemma. Perhaps Mr. Cheskelton can give us an indication of how long his address is intended, and we can try to make ourselves available. If not, that we attend on time at 9:30 when the commission starts, perhaps later in the day as well, if there's any other business that they may suitably interpose or deal with while waiting for us. And I certainly don't want to keep the commission waiting, so I'm trying my level best this afternoon to make those arrangements.
Thank you. Part of the takeaway for me is that you are saying if push comes to a shove, you will be asking to be excused.
Indeed, to the extent that it may be required. We are here, as I previously explained, on those conditions.
Yeah. No, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Valley.
Thank you, Chair.
Yes, Mr. Shastelson.
Chair, I think that Mr. Valley and I should stay in touch over the evening and early tomorrow morning. There are really two ways that we can do this. We will have, I still have a couple of hours at least of open session address to go through. That will be addressed in public with a full recording, and if Mr. Valley is unavailable at a particular time tomorrow, we can schedule around that time so that the open address is done at that time. The in-camera session, my sense, is probably 3 hours in total, and we would prefer Mr. Valley to be there in person or a representative to be there in person, but we will ensure that it is transcribed and recorded. And given that we're dealing with a situation where there is no witness who needs to be protected or advised live in the moment, we submit that, although it's not ideal, if Mr. Valley gets a full transcript and recording, and he has all of the documents to which reference are going to be made, he will still be able to advise General Khan in advance of any affidavit that General Khan is going to prepare, or indeed any appearance that General Khan is going to make if he recovers, as we certainly hope he does, speedily enough to appear before this commission. So we would ask for the in-camera order to be granted. We undertake that we will coordinate with Mr. Valley so that to the extent possible tomorrow, that session will be held at a time convenient, I want to say convenient, less inconvenient to Mr. Valley. And we will certainly make available a transcript and a recording of that session to Mr. Valley. And that then, and he will have ample time to consider it before we demand any statement from General Khan.
Thank you, Mr. Shaskelson. is granted. That's the ruling. But for a fuller expression of what exactly the ruling entails, I'm asking for a draft order. This is similar to, I think, what we did with witness K, if I'm not mistaken, because sitting here I will not be able to delineate everything. And also there's that about a list of persons and so on. So all of that will require a draft order. And for purposes of publication and the interest of everybody, the order, once granted after receipt of the draft order, will be posted in the Commission's website, and will also be circulated to the media. And of course, it will be sent to the attorneys. Thank you very much. We heard you, Mr. Valley, but as much as one would have loved to have you here tomorrow, we take comfort in the fact that you did say that if push comes to shove, you will ask to be excused. My view is for us to continue. You will be furnished with a copy of the transcript if you do not attend, if you are unable to attend, and if you are not able to even send a professional assistant. You will get a copy of the full transcript, and the copy that you get will not be redacted. What will be redacted will be what goes out to the public. And you are free. And indeed, if General Khan is in a position to give instructions, he too is free through you to give instructions as to what should be done with the content of the transcript. Thank you.
As it pleases you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank
you. Chair, we have 15 minutes left. I'm in the hands of the commissioners. I could certainly start a subtopic. I'm unlikely to finish any discrete topic.
Let's go on until 4:30.
Thank you, Chair. For the purposes of this presentation, I'm not going to try to direct you in and out of a core bundle, because the core bundle was not drawn up with this presentation in mind. So we will flight the relevant passages, and we we'll flight them also to your laptops. There are some details where we won't be able to flight them publicly because, I mean, in particular, I have to refer to the officer who wasn't named earlier and whose name appears on one of the chats to which I want to refer quite soon, and so that won't be displayed publicly. But the first topic which I'd want to raise is the relationship between General Khan and the late Mr. Viandre Pretorius. And Chair, you'll recall that we heard testimony from the late witness D that Mr. Pretorius was part of a gang that was essentially a criminal theft and extortion gang comprising several members of the EMPD. And in particular, witness D testified that Mr. Pretorius was part of the group responsible for torturing Mr. Emmanuel Mbense to death. during one of the operations of this gang, and then suggested that they should call General Khan to fix it when they were debating what to do with the body of the man they had just killed. Now, if we go to page 1894, we see that General Khan, in a chat with another person, who is, and that we, posts a happy birthday picture of himself next to a man who is in fact Mr. Pretorius. And we've identified Mr. Pretorius independently, but that in fact is confirmed by General Khan himself, because after some questions from his counterparty in this chat, which take a while to decode because they are full of, there's a big typo in the middle of them. The counterparty writes his Che, and what he wants to say is who's that? He follows that with that, and if you go over the page to 1895, General Khan responds Viandre. And the counterparty says, okay, cool, his birthday, and General Khan says, mine, bro. So, certainly by January 2021, Mr. Pretorius and General Khan were on birthday card greeting terms. Later that month, if we go to 3428, and here we may not want to display it publicly because this is the chat with the officer who was responsible for counterintelligence against the journalist Marianne Tam, and whose name we have not yet mentioned. If we go to the footer, page 3428, I don't know, Commissioners, if you see 3428, if you can get to 3428. Okay. In fact, we can display a redacted copy, which won't be a problem. On 14 January at message time 14:33, the officer says, "Hi General, with your permission, I'm issuing Viandre with a permit, just letting you know." We won't then display the next message, where the General says, "Hi so-and-so, no problem." And then over the page, the officer says, "We need team players on our side." The processes involving Mr. Pretorius next appear on the 10th.
Just to say, we should be careful. I'm just looking at the picture that was shown there. We should warn sensitive viewers that something like that is going to appear on screen. Because I thought the focus was more on the text than the picture. Or am I mistaken?
I was also focusing on the text, not the picture, so I missed it.
Oh, sorry, your mic.
I was focusing on the text, not the picture, so I didn't even, but I will pay more attention to pictures.
Thank you.
A different issue, where you're reading for us and you're not projecting, do Mr. Valley's team have copies of what you're referring to? Do they know, even if it's redacted? Because it might be sufficient for us to have you read, but for them to want to see what it is you're referring.
I understand Mr. Valley's team to have all of our the full set of chats to which I'm referring.
Thank you, Commissioner Baloyi. If we identify we don't have one, I'll be sure to interject. Thank you very much.
Then the next reference to Mr. Pretorius is on the 10th of May of 2021, and it's at page 5837. It's in the chats between Mr. Sayed and General Khan, and it is a video that Mr. Sayed sends to Mr. Khan, which we'll display, because it's a video that he sends of Mr. Pretorius next to an unmarked car with blue lights.
Say this is sent by
Mr. Sayed.
to General Khan.
To General Khan.
Okay.
And General Khan's response is he's looking sharp in the next chat. It's okay, the one with the line. A few days later, Mr. Sayed sends 2 more videos of Mr. Pretorius with blue lights. That's on the 15th of May at page 5873. It's the media files at 10:01:44 message time. And volume, we'll need volume for this. We don't seem to have volume, but I know from my experience of that video, it comes with sound as well, the sound one expects in a vehicle with a blue light. There will be other videos where we need volume. And the second video that is sent and Mr. Sayed follows up those 2 videos at the top of 5874 with a message to General Khan, "That's how we roll, boys in blue." And General Khan responds, "Too good, bro." Now, the chats suggest that General Khan arranged for Mr. Pretorius to work for Mr. Sayed, where he would conduct raids on the competitors of Carney Links in the illegal tobacco industry. And we infer that from a chat on the 21st of June, 2021 at page 6005. And there at message time 7:18 a.m., Mr. Sayed says to General Khan, "Brew, won't Shaheen get upset that W," and W is a reference to Viandre, "is resigning? Will you please handle it for me when the time comes and tell him that you placed him by me for other reasons?" And General Khan responds, "I discussed it with Viandre, we have a plan."
Do we know, or will it become apparent, who is Shaheen in this scheme, if it matters at all?
We think we know. It will become, certainly before this commission ends, we will have established with certainty. Now, what Mr. Pretorius was doing with Mr. Sayed is illustrated by a series of chats from 6038. And there at the top of the page, General Khan messages Mr. Sayed, Slam's brother, Viandre has a lead on a big cigarette bust on the East Rand. Maybe give him a call. And I just want to pause there so that we can contextualize what we're looking at. We're looking at a crime intelligence general calling an executive in the tobacco industry, saying that someone who they both know has a lead on a cigarette bust on the East Rand, and so the tobacco industry executive should give him a call. And it requires some explanation, because one would imagine that if a bust is taking place in an industry, one doesn't notify players in the industry, even if they're competitors, while that bust is taking place. It's something for the police to do, not for the industry to be told about.
Mr. Chaskalson, when you started on this topic, you said that officer, whose name we will not mention, was discussing with General Khan the issuing of a card or a document to Mr. Pretorius. Is that card or document issued in terms of the law, or does it reflect that he's a law enforcement officer? What does it show exactly?
We do not know. We have not seen. That's a question we'd like to ask both of those officers, or both General Khan and that officer. What is that permit? He refers to it as a permit. We don't know what it is. But yes, I mean, it's a document that would purport to permit him to do certain things. Whether it was lawfully issued and what it purports to permit him to do, we do not know. Then there are a series of voice notes that are sent by Mr. Sayed to General Khan, some of which are forwarded voice notes that Mr. Pretorius has sent to Mr. Sayed, and we'll play them through one by one. So starting with the first one. Let's do 1, 2, 3, 4 in succession. Sorry. Yeah.
Next page. Salam's Jen. No, he sent me a message also. He sent me a voice.
So that's Mr. Sayed telling General Khan that Mr. Pretorius has sent him a message too. He's on his way to a place in Benoni for the bust, and Mr. Sayed has told Mr. Pretorius that he will dispatch the boys. So there are some boys who Mr. Sayed controls who apparently are going to be part of this bust as well. Whether they are police or private agents of Mr. Sayed or Carney Links, we do not know.
Truck just arrived now. Fuck, the truck arrived. They're busy offloading the cigarettes now in Benoni. I'm rushing there. I'm going to quickly pick up the informant to show me the place.
That's a message that Mr. Pretorius has sent to Mr. Sayed, and he has now forwarded it to General Khan.
Listen, must I send the boys there to Benoni as well? I can send them as well to Benoni.
And that we understand to be Mr. Sayed. We may be wrong saying that he can send the boys to Benoni.
Okay, let me just pick up the informer quickly and ID the place. I've just spoke to Colonel Singh now as well. He's with the general. We're quickly going to arrange people so we can eat there, because you know if it's in a warehouse, there's going to be a lot of cops involved there. So I want the big brass to be there so they can assist us and take over the scene.
So that again is Mr. Pretoria saying he has spoken to a Colonel Singh who is with General Khan, and he wants General Khan to be there because he wants Big Brass there to be able to take over the scene. Then there is a message just okay from Mr. Sayed to General Khan, and then a series of further messages that he forwards from Mr. Pretorius to General Khan.
Let's hit them hard. Let's hit them hard. I'm rushing to pick up the informer quickly so he can show me the place. We're going to moor them hard today.
That message speaks for itself. It's Mr. Pretorius.
But you must come there. And you must try for the general also to come out.
So he wants both Mr. Sayed and General Khan to come.
But you must come there. And you must try for the general also to come out. Hey, arrange with the general, then you come here, man. Hey, arrange with the general, then you come here, man.
Arrange with the general so that you can come there. There's then a call from Mr. Sayed to General Khan. Those earlier messages are at 11:23. At 11:24, there's a call that isn't answered. And then from 11:50, there are a series of photographs of people lying on the ground, presumably having been arrested or apprehended, and of a truck, which we see at 6043 that has boxes in it, and at the foot of 6048, we see some cigarette packets, which we can infer were found in the boxes.
You stopped the flight?
I'm not sure, I mean, do we need a disclaimer here? I mean, these are people lying on the ground. They don't appear to have been shot.
Yeah, I think it's fine.
And if we can just scroll through those pictures.
Mr. Chaskasin, you said there are boxes of cigarettes. Where do we see that?
I saw some boxes of cigarettes on the ground at a certain, not many. I'm inferring that the boxes, well, if one goes, for instance, to the top of 6055, one sees an open box with sort of blue-colored stuff, blue-colored boxes inside it. And then if we go higher, one sees at the foot of 6048. And if we can zoom in on that, I think that those would be examples of the contraband cigarettes that were allegedly found at the scene. If you look at that together with the open box at 6055, but the suggestion certainly is that these boxes are all, and at 6061 as well, are boxes of cigarettes. There are later voice notes which I haven't actually prepared as media files.
For the record, maybe I should say they do not look branded, the boxes.
I think that they may be branded. I think that they may be branded. If we zoom in on the boxes on the ground, I think we might see some branding.
It's brown.
Ms. Chaskalson, I think Chair is referring to the big boxes.
The big boxes, the cardboard boxes.
The cardboard boxes.
They certainly are not branded.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, no, what was on the floor, I think are obviously cigarette packs, at least.
I seem to remember media files where Mr. Pretorius actually says there are cigarettes underneath packets of sweets and bananas.
You can always come back to it if it's
Yeah.
important, right?
So the one on 6048, those are packs of cigarettes.
Yes, inside the cardboard boxes would be the cigarettes, and they would be covered on the truck. So if, for instance, we look at the back of the truck on page 6046, we see a whole lot of plastic bags of sweets, and behind them the cigarettes.
At least the one cardboard box that is opened, you can see that what is inside those cardboard boxes looks like the cigarette packs that are on the floor on page 6048.
Indeed. What I didn't do is download, it's a video file where he's describing what's taking place, but we can arrange for that briefly to be shown tomorrow. But what I do want to draw attention to is the response of General Khan at 6069, where he says to Mr. Sayed, "Great work, brother." And again, this is something that I think we need to step back at and consider. What we have is a crime intelligence officer whose job it is to police the illicit tobacco market, who is complimenting a player in the tobacco market for essentially doing the work of crime intelligence in relation to a competitor of his. And it looks very much like what is going on here is that the crime intelligence resources are being used to enable Connie links to take out a competitor or to raid a competitor in the name of the law. That inference that we draw is reinforced by a number of exchanges between Mr. Sayed and Carnolinks, where if we go to page 5966,
Sorry, perhaps we should have read the text below the one that says great work or something. That's where Mr. Syed is saying all thanks to you, basically.
Indeed. No, my brew, Jazakala to you.
Yes,
Thanks to you.
yes, yes.
And then we have a series of exchanges between Mr. Sayed and Mr. Khan, where Mr. Sayed is General Khan, where Mr. Sayed is essentially asking General Khan to target a competitor of his called Protobac. It starts at 5966. At the foot of 5966 on the 11th of June 2021, where Mr. Sayed says, Protobac, factories in Old Union Cotton Mills Factory, East London, they'll know, can't get it wrong. Over the page, please brew, they're manufacturing cigarettes, Pacific, Pegasus. I need to F them out of sight. And General Khan says, okay, bro. At 6185, a month and a bit later, Mr. Sayed sends to General Khan a SAPS tweet recording a successful raid at the Protobac factory. And he says underneath that on 6186, this is the same effer in East London, Protobac, that's busy with S ... there. Govinder's guys must seize it. And at 6190, Mr. Sayed sends to General Khan a tweet from issued by SAPS, which describes a raid on Protobac. Not only does he forward the tweet, but he also forwards what looks like an extract of a SAPS register of what has been seized. Because if we see the next chat, also on 23rd of July, 12613, and we zoom in there, what it shows is particulars of the goods detained. And it says 152 times 200 kilogram boxes of raw tobacco, 1127 times 200 kilograms of cut rag. And he says underneath, pro tobacco, all seized. Seems these people are doing funnies via a bond store. This is all Mr. Sayed, and he says next week they're going to pounce on the bond store. So he's been given advance notice that SAPS is going to raid Protobac's bond store, where they are doing something in relation to excise tax. And he then complains that there is a discrepancy between what is reflected as having been seized and the output of that, because he says after next week they're going to pounce on the bond store. He says the cut rag is imported from Zim as raw lamina at 200 kilograms, but this is contradictory, because cut rag, one can fill 100 to 110 kilograms per box. I'll keep you in the loop. And then underneath, Protobac is looking at under-entries and penalties of 120 bar. He's saying they're going to be fined 120 million rands for tax evasion or excise tax evasion. Protobac is not the only competitor who is being targeted in these chats between Mr. Sayed and General Khan. There is another competitor, Gold Leaf Tobacco, whose primary brand is Remington Gold. And we see several chats where Mr. Sayed and General Khan exchange information about raids on Gold Leaf and the seizure of Remington. So if we go to page 451, there on the 20th of April 2021, General Khan forwards to Mr. Sayed a SAPS report on a Customs and Excise Act, Tobacco Control Products Act operation, which is against Remington Gold. And we see Remington Gold mentioned at page 452, where the operations, the SAPS Parys conducted operations on 1 JJ wholesalers, 2 Delight wholesalers, and the goods seized in Parys SAP 13, in the SAP 13 register, 110 times carton Remington Gold. 50 times cartons, that says Pegasus, I think it's Pegasus, and if you recall from Protobac, one of the Protobac brands was Pegasus. Mr. Sayed's response is brilliant, Brew. General Khan says, did Green tell you? And so General Khan expects that someone called Green would already have briefed Mr. Sayed on this raid on one of his competitors, or involving his competitors' brands. And Mr. Sayed said, he did mention to me, but not in this detail. We see another operation targeting Remington on the 11th of June 2021, that's at 5969. And there Mr. Sayed says, Slam, do you have anyone at Komatipoort, the border between South Africa and Mozambique, that can check if they intercepted the truck for us, if they intercepted the truck for us? So the executive from Carney Links wants to know from SAPS if they have intercepted a truck for us. Let me ask, the one I sent to Hogg was intercepted in Bela Bela, waiting for feedback. Coffee Fontaine, it's positive, they're busy now. The other truck was caught other side of the border over the page. Bela Bela truck cannot get through to people on scene. We flagged about 15 trucks of GL, that's Gold Leaf, the Remington company. And now it's paying off. What was on? There's a Y, and then the answer comes Remington Gold. How many cases? Truckload. Now, while this is taking place, we see a parallel set of chats where, although Mr. Sayed is very enthusiastic about raids on competitors, he is particularly unenthusiastic about general attempts to crack down on the illicit tobacco industry, and in particular about the activities of Mr. Yusuf Abramji, who was at the time running a campaign against illegal tobacco.
But before you go to those, these which we just looked at, this is Mr. Syed and who?
Mr. Syed is communicating with General
Your mic is off.
General Khan, the chats are between Mr. Sayed and General Khan, where there may well be chats that are forwarded from chats that somebody else has sent to Mr. Sayed and that he's forwarding to General Khan, but the third party we can't identify because we don't have Mr. Sayed's chats, we only have General Khan's chats.
Okay, so what we looked at, what you showed us now in that screen, is a series, all of them from Mr. Syed. Where do we see that they are going to General Khan?
Oh, because these chats are taken from General Khan's phone.
They were received from his phone.
So
that's
there
how we
are
know.
chats,
Okay.
so anything in white on these chats is chats that the sender sends to General Khan.
Yes.
Anything in green is what General Khan sends to the sender.
You've answered me, thank you. Thanks, Mr.
If we go to 6107, there we see that on the 7th of July, 2021, Mr. Sayed forwards to General Khan a post from Mr. Abramji, which is taking issue with the scale of tax evasion and tax criminality in the illicit tobacco industry. And it quotes, a post quotes Mr. Abramji, just when South Africa needs every cent available to combat the pandemic and the country is crying out for the enforcement of our laws, criminals are being allowed to loot the nation of billions of rands by making and selling tax-evading cigarettes, warns Yusuf Abramji, founder of the Tax Justice South Africa. We need an immediate inquiry into the industry to investigate how this is being allowed to happen. The new report by market researchers Ipsos, which is published today, reveals 2 in 3 shops in the hotspot provinces of Free State, Gauteng and Western Cape sell illegal cigarettes. Illegal cigarettes are on sale in nearly half, 41% of all shops nationwide. And then there are a whole lot of statistics. And down at 6108, we see a complaint about gold leaf tobacco, which Mr. Sayed wouldn't presumably object to. It says brands belonging to Gold Leaf Tobacco Corporation are winning the illegal price war, with a number of its South African brands purchased below the MCT. That's the minimum collectible tax. I don't know if we've discussed it, but that is the total amount of tax that would be paid on a packet of cigarettes. And what these studies are showing is that cigarettes are retailing at a price which is below the tax that ought to be paid on them. So there has to be tax evasion because it's not even a cost price. It's below a tax, the amounts. The retail price is below the amount of tax that ought to be paid by the retailer. Never mind the retailer's purchase price itself. This post says that brands belonging to Gold Leaf are winning the illegal price war, with a number of its South African brands purchased below the MCT rising by 25%. The number of brands belonging to Carney Links bought below MCT has rocketed by a third. And so he's not only pointing a finger at Gold Leaf, he's pointing a finger at Carney Links, saying that the number of your brands that are purchased below the minimum collectible tax, which means they must be involve tax evasion, has rocketed by a third. And then there is a lengthy description of the problems that this causes to the country, and at the bottom of the post, one sees hashtag lock them up, and for media queries, contact Yusuf Abramji, Yusuf at taxjusticesa.co.za, and a phone number is given. The response of Mr. Sayed to this is to forward to General Khan, who ought to be investigating illegal tobacco, Abramji going to get effed up, bro? General Khan responds back, yes, F him up, bro. He must stay in his lane. So what we have here, and sorry, Mr. Sayed says 100%. what we have here is a general in-crime intelligence whose job it is to investigate the illegal tobacco industry, agreeing with the executive of a company whose brands on a large scale are being sold below the minimum collectible tax rate. In other words, at a price which must involve tax evasion, that the person raising objections to this state of affairs needs to get effed up and must stay in his lane. That, and if we can just pause here, what makes this so pernicious is that these laws, it's not that these laws are not being administered, it's that they are being administered selectively. So what one sees is, in the earlier chats, a series of exchanges between Mr. Sayed, who's the Carney Links executive, and General Khan, enthusiastically applauding raids of illegal tobacco products that belong to competitors, either Pro-Tobac or Gold Leaf. But when the finger is pointed at Carney Links, there's, abusive comments about the person pointing the finger and saying, stay in your lane. There is then a second episode of this nature, which we see at the foot of page 6458. And this is now in October 2021, the first set of posts that we saw was in July. It's now 3 months later. And in October 2021, Mr. Abramji is posting about the same issue. And now the numbers have changed. 3 months down the line, 3 months down the line, brands belonging to Carney Links, the chief member of the FITA, I think that's the Free Trade Association of Tobacco, were the most frequently, brackets 62%, found below MCT, minimum collectible tax. Purchases of brands owned or licensed by Afroberg, whose name has been removed from the FITA website in recent weeks, were the second most prevalent, 59% below MCT. The usual suspects are implemented, just as TJSA has found, Tax Justice South Africa has found in its own investigation, said Mr. Abramji. TJSA has been conducting research independently into the illicit trade over recent months and will be releasing our report soon. We hope it serves as a wake-up call to the authorities. South Africa cannot afford this industrial-scale looting to continue a single day longer. And then another post, Tax Justice SA has uncovered breathtaking new details about the crime wave that's sweeping South Africa and robbing honest, hard-working citizens of billions of rand. We'll be releasing our explosive report soon. Hashtag lock them up at SARS Tax, at SAPS, at Abramji, at Ed Kisvetter. Coming soon, explosive new report on the biggest crime wave sweeping South Africa. The response of Mr. Sayed is, this P is asking for it, bro. And General Khan says, we can sort it out easily. Now, that is I've come to the end of that topic about the apparent alliance between General Khan and Carney Links through Mr. Sayed, both in terms of raiding competitors of Carney Links and in terms of resisting, or at least expressing an intention to resist, the campaign of Tax Justice SA to crack down on tax evasion in the illicit tobacco industry. I'm going to move on to a completely different topic now. It is...
do we do that tomorrow?
I was going to suggest we do it tomorrow. My guess is I probably have an hour to go.
Let's start it tomorrow morning then.
Thank you, Chair. And then we will start, subject to what Mr. Valley and I discussed tonight, we will probably start the open session tomorrow, unless it makes sense to do it the other way around, given Mr. Valley's arrangements for tomorrow.
Thank you, Mr. I got word that what I said, or rather, the ruling, something technical happened or cropped up, and as a result, I don't know what part of the ruling was not heard. I got a message from our spokesperson, so I don't even know what to repeat. What I said was the application is granted. Details will be contained in a fully stated or expressed ruling, which will be posted on the Commission's website and which will also be published or served on the media. I think that's the important part that I said. And of course, the ruling will be served on the attorneys as well. I hope that captures whatever it is that was not captured for reasons not known to me, because my mic was on. Let us adjourn and resume at 9:13.